It's time for another Dice Tower review with Z Garcia.
Hey folks, today I'm taking a look at Legendary Encounters, a Predator deck building game. This one, of course, is a follow-up, a loose follow-up, if you would, to both Legendary Marvel and Legendary Encounters Alien, which is, of course, based on the Alien film property, this one being based on the Predator film property. And in this one, you are either the humans trying to survive, be it in the jungle or in the city, that's Predator 1 or the second film, or you are the predators themselves and you are trying to bag the most trophies. Let me give you a brief overview of how the game works. I'm not going to go over every detail or anything, but I'll give you enough so you can get an idea of how it plays, and then I'll tell you what I think of this one and what I think of it compared to the other games. Here we go. The game can be played in two main modes. You can play as the humans, defending against the predators, and that's a fully cooperative mode. Or you can play as the predators in the jungle fighting against the humans. And that mode is competitive. In that mode, you are trying to score victory points. Whereas in this mode that I'll be showing you a brief overview of, you are trying to get through some objectives here. You can mix and match the film objectives if you want to, but in this case I have the three that tie into the first movie. And so once you get through all three of these and at least one person has survived, one player, then you win. If everyone dies before you've completed all these, then you have lost the game, again, cooperatively. We are going to begin by setting up this deck of enemies. And then you have a deck of strikes here, which is where you draw from every time you are hit. And then down here is the deck that you buy cards from, and we have already flipped some cards face up down here, so you can start to build up your deck. You also have over here some commander cards, and you can always buy these. They're always worth 3. They're almost all identical, except for a little symbol in the corner that is used just for combo making and things like that. Everybody gets a starting deck of cards. You have an avatar, and then several brute strength cards, which are a one-hit card for attacking and scanning. I'll show you that in 1 second. And then you have a few that are these experience cards, which are $1 buck, if you want to think of it that way. It's purchasing power to buy more of these cards down here. You also have 1 card mixed into your deck that ties into your avatar. Alright, so you're going to shuffle up your deck of cards. You're going to draw yourself 6, and you are ready to begin. Each round of the game has a few phases. The first phase is the enemy phase, in which you're going to grab 1 card from the enemy deck here and lay it in the zone closest to it. If anything is in its way, then it kind of moves things over. And if anything ever falls off the edge here, then it lands in the combat zone and is revealed if it wasn't already. So that's the first thing. Next up is the action phase, in which you are going to buy cards, you are going to scan, you are going to attack things. And during that phase, I'm going to take a look at my hand here. And I have some purchasing power. I only have 1 single brute strength, which is not very good. So I'm not going to be able to scan, and scan, by the way, means spending enough strength to be able to reveal one of these cards and see what is coming up, to prepare for it, to be able to attack it, get rid of it, before it drops it down into the combat zone and starts hurting us back. All right? And so let's say on this turn I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 purchasing power. I could buy this card here, Pushing Pencils. And so this card costs 4. It gives me 2 towards purchasing, and it has an ability that checks for a symbol, and if I've already previously played that symbol, then it triggers this power. Alright, so I'm going to buy that. I put it in my discard pile. I would flip a new card into its place, and that would be it for my action phase. After that comes the strike phase. During the strike phase, anything that's in the combat zone would hurt me back. And so let's say there was something in there. Let's just pretend. Let's find a cool predator baddie in here. We got some guerrilla cards, and there are some Russian militia characters in here. Ooh, there we go. There's a cool one. And so this character, it changed colors. That one, if it was in there, it has an ongoing ability here that says the enemy has a plus attack depending on different symbols the players can play, things like that, okay? And so, if it was in here, when it comes to the strike phase, then I have to draw a strike and apply it to my avatar. And so these can sometimes be a deep gash. This one says deep gash. It's a 2-hit card. And so I just tuck it under my card here, and my health is 10. I'm now down to 8. Sometimes it can be a worse thing, like this one is an open wound, it says, and there's some text that says, your strikes other than open wounds can't be healed. Alright, so this one just prevents me from healing. Sometimes it's just a little flesh wound, sometimes they're even worse. And so that's how that works. And you want to make sure you keep this combat zone clear of these baddies, alright? So, that's the strike phase, and then once that's done, and there might not, nothing might happen during the strike phase, then you get to the cleanup phase in which you finish discarding your entire hand of cards. You clean up anything you played on the table, and you draw yourself a new hand of 6. And then it would be the next player's turn. They again draw a card here. They take their actions, where they could scan, they could do things like this. Okay, now they know, oh, I need to attack this card for 3 in order to wipe it out. And if you do that, then you can take this one, discard it, boom, and you are on your way to keeping this clear. Ultimately, this is all just sort of a stopgap towards whatever your objectives are. And there are various things. Sometimes you need to find a specific card in the deck and deal with it. Sometimes you need to kill a specific baddie. Lots of different things. And so that's the general flow of the game. There's a couple of keywords in the cards that allow you to do some of that cooperation. For one thing, there's some cards that say coordinate. All of these commander cards say it, and then some of these say it as well. This one, for example, says it as well. And what they let you do is play them on somebody else's turn in order to give them the benefit of the card instead of yourself. So you play it on their turn. Someone says, oh, I really could use a couple of extra coins. Oh, I really could use one more attack, whatever. You go, okay, here you go, boom. I play it on your turn, and then I draw a replacement card from my own deck. So you even get a replacement, but it encourages you to communicate with the other players. It encourages you to help each other out. And besides these coordinate cards, there's a couple of other keywords in the game that also encourage this looking for combos and cooperation. Call for backup is one of them. It's an ability that gives you a bonus each time someone coordinates a card to you on that turn. And then another ability is called Brothers in Arms, and that one triggers based on different characters you've played. And so if you played a character from a card from a different character, like say Dylan, and then a Blaine card, that Brothers in Arms ability will trigger based on different character names you've played. There's a few other ones. There's a Showboat, and then there's a few other ones. But that's the basic flow of the game. Now, besides all of this, as I said, you can also play the game where you yourselves, the players, are the predators. You get a different avatar. You get a different starting deck of cards, with a card like this. And so this could be my avatar if I was playing as the predators. And in this mode, it's not an all or nothing. It's actually victory point based, which is down here, this symbol. And there would be a different deck of cards, which would be called the prey deck. There's a different deck of cards you can buy. Everything really is different. And in that mode, there's a few different things. Obviously, victory point based. You're not helping each other. And one of the big differences is that you can actually, in that mode, attack one another if a card allows you to do so. Some cards have a keyword that allow you to attack another player at the table, and if you play cards just like you're attacking any other objective, and if you hurt them for enough, then their life will start dropping, and if you kill them, then you take the avatar. Game's over at that point, and you score all your prey, which the game calls trophies, and all your and if you've killed an enemy, another predator, then you score that avatar as well. So there you have it, Predator deck building game. I definitely like the artwork in the game. I already was a big fan of the artwork in the Alien deck building game, and I think this one really follows closely on the heels of that one. It's a very similar playing game. It looks similar. It's got that same style to everything. And that's both the good thing and the bad thing, ultimately, I think, in this game. And that is, if you liked Legendary Alien deck building game, you're going to like this, because they're very similar, unless you hate the property, If you did not like that one, this I don't think is going to introduce anything new that suddenly is going to make you love it, I like the way that this takes the game, though, and turns it on its head and makes it competitive. That mode is really good. And if you like the idea of you playing the Predators, you're going to dig it, because it works well. It allows you to attack the other players. Not all the time. You have to have the right cards to do it. But it lets you go for that. It works well. It can have a little bit of a ganging up on a wounded player thing, but hey, I think that's thematic anyway, and the game will end when someone's out, so you won't be sitting there waiting if you are a predator and you're killed, the game stops. And so you won't be killed early in the game and then sit around waiting, I like that mode a lot. I think it's really well done. And then you score points, which is very different from all the, from the other modes, both in this game and in the Alien game. I have always liked Alien better than the Marvel game. I know a lot of people do not. I enjoy it better because I think it's more cohesive. I like the scanning idea. And all of those things are in this game. Now, on the flip side of that, the Alien one had 4 movies that you could play through. You can mix and match, whatever. This one has 2 movies. And yeah, then it turns that around and gives you the Predator mode. But that's one thing that that's a little bit of a negative that I have towards the game. I also thought the keywords were a little bit messily named and just sort of messy anyway. If you put a gun to my head and said you have to pick between Legendary Alien and Legendary Predator, I would pick Alien because I think there's a little more content there. Perhaps that's an illusion, but it feels that way to me. But if I don't have to pick, I will gladly take both because I think both are excellent deck building games. They're both highly thematic. You could mix them if you wanted to, though at that point you start getting into the problem of having keywords that you have to remember what the matching keyword is in the other universe, and so I'm not a huge fan of that. I don't like to do it, but you can do it. You can combine them, and you can have the characters from one universe meet up with characters in the other one and go up against aliens or predators or whatever you want. So thumbs up on this one. I think it's a well done product. It's interesting. It's perhaps just a touch long, but I imagine that is a very personal opinion and probably doesn't apply to most people. I would prefer if it was 15 minutes quicker, but not a huge deal, So overall, thumbs up from me. Legendary Encounters Predator is a solid product, and if you like the property, no question, go check it out. If you are alright with the property, but you already enjoy the Alien version of the game, then you're going to dig this one too, because it is very well done. Legendary Encounter Predator deck building game. Check it out.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.